Hi, this is class number 5 for Support Your Conscious Activism. I'm Dr. Julie Caldwell, and I wrote this book called On Evolutionary Power, A Path to Conscious Sustainable Activism. This is my creative action to put out into the world to support us all as a species, really, to step into this higher vibration. We know it's possible. We know we're connected when we're not in fear. We know we're co-creative when we don't go into reactivity. So this little book has been all about that, to take us all, me included. I was just using these 10 steps a couple days ago to move out of some old patterns into new possibilities. So today we're going to talk about two things, two different steps, opening your focus and opening your heart. Now, I'm going to do a quick lowdown here. The steps are as follows. 1, recognize the signs that I'm in reactive brain. It's all physiological. I'll know. I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling kind of adrenalized or frozen. Number 2, decide to shift, because you don't have to shift. Nobody can make you shift, but if you decide, okay, I'm willing to shift, then you keep going. Step 3, discover the real issue using SEW. You can go back and see lots of examples, both in the class 3 video, but also on online. We have a whole web area that's called SEW Relationship Skills, so you can go find it there. Last time I was talking about accepting and loving what is. Does that mean that I'm happy with it? Well, no. It means that I'm getting squarely face to face with reality. Oh, this is true. And actually even loving reality, meaning, well, I'm imagining something that I love, or something or someone I love easily, and putting that whole vibration out into the world, into reality. Because, well, why not? Because what I'm doing is really pumping all this energy out there from me to it and saying, oh yeah, let's go. So again, today we're going to do 2 steps, opening your focus and opening your heart. So let's start with opening your focus. Lester Fehmi, Fehmi, wrote this wonderful book called Open Focus Brain. Go find it. It will change your life. Well, it changed mine. And there's all kinds of great stuff in there. But one of the things he really focused in on with Open Focus Brain is saying, so much of the time we're in narrow focus. Now, when I started learning about this, it seemed like actually maybe all the time. That's not even possible. I guess you got to sleep, right? But I had really treasured narrow focus. I thought that was the point, that the more I could do narrow focus, that somehow the better, because I needed to keep track of what was wrong. So let's do a little narrow focus for a little bit. Narrow focus is what's wrong. Well, let's see. My desk is messy. It's wrong. I have too many post-its littering around, like fall forest ground, like leaves everywhere. What's wrong? What's wrong? So when I go to what's wrong, I even wrinkle my nose. I scrunch up. What's wrong? Focus requires this focus to, kind of squinting, looking. Is that a B or a D that I just typed in my little tiny little devices? So what's wrong requires us to go into a narrow focus. Fehmi says that when we're in that focus, we actually are in a particular brainwave. We're in a beta response. And in fact, we can be in a high stress response, a high beta. And so that our bodies are not just like, okay, kind of what's wrong, but kind of this reactive stress response of what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong. Now we can go low to low beta to mid to high beta, but those are all a particular brainwave. Oh, what if you could change that brainwave? Isn't that interesting? So that's what I want to teach you how to do, straight from him. He has lots of ways, and I'm going to teach you 1 or 2 of those right now. Open focus says, all right, now I'm doing this. I'm looking at this green light here on the computer screen. So without moving my eyes and without moving my head, so do this with me, okay? You don't have to find a green light. Just look at your own computer screen. And now you're going to expand your focus. So now I can see the edges, the square edges, oblong. Now I can actually see the light this direction, and I can see I have a poster over here. It's a really pretty poster, lots of colors. Now I'm expanding my peripheral vision even more, so I can see in this direction. There's a wall over here. There's another light over here, right? So you're taking your vision. You can do this. This is the second way. You can just take your fingers. I always go a little cross-eyed when I try to do it this way, but what I'm doing is watching my fingers using my peripheral vision. So letting myself indulge in that feeling, even kind of blur out a little bit when I get out here. How is that for you? What I notice is when I do that, I actually shift. I can feel my body relaxing. So as my vision is opening, my whole body is kind of coming back down. Instead of what's wrong, I go out here. Then I'm going to do it again. Let's all practice again. Out here, it's really what's right. What can I appreciate? I can start to see the wider expanse, the wider possibility. Femi says what we're doing when we're doing that is shifting our brain waves to an alpha state. We have alpha brain waves, which now, instead of being on high alert, we still have an alert experience of life and ourselves, but we're also in a relaxed state. And he says, people meditate for this exact state, to have an alpha experience, an alpha brainwave, to shift to that, out of that beta response. Now, there are other brainwaves. You can go read all about them, but those are the two to really focus in on. Now, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with being in narrow focus at all. We need to be in narrow focus. If there was something going on, if something happened, let's say something fell off of my ceiling, which is impossible, there's nothing up there, but let's just say it just went, I would go into narrow focus. I'd be like, what was that? Whoa. And I'd focus in and I'd figure out what was wrong and what to do about it. So we need that. It's just that, at least in the culture I'm part of, kind of this white European produce or else kind of culture, narrow focus tends to be very overvalued. So that sugar and caffeine, and it takes a lot of energy to stay in that narrow focus. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And it's very easy to stay in that kind of ongoing change response of what else is wrong? What's else? Because if once I find one thing that's wrong, well, I'm going to find all kinds of things. There's always something else. I realized that one day when I was thinking about, well, it was my partner. Sorry about that, Kath. But that what was wrong about was this, it was that, was this, that it was just endless. Now, probably there was an end, but what was the problem wasn't her. It was my brain was stuck on narrow focus. So again, let's practice right now. Going off to open focus. I'm just doing it without even looking at because I see the light. Practicing open focus. So the idea here is to be able to go back and forth, that whatever I'm in on one side, maybe I'm way open, but I want to go more narrow, that I have choice. And then the opposite, that if I'm in narrow, I can actually go to open. Now, once I'm in open focus, it's like I've escaped the clutches of reactive brain. Reactive brain is very invested in me staying in reactive brain. That survival sense that we have believes itself and thinks, well, we have to stay on top of it because what else is wrong? What else is wrong? What else is wrong? So it's very easy to get entranced by that until we say, okay, let's come back into open focus. Femi says that animals in the wild, the ones that could be someone's dinner tonight, animals in the wild are in open focus the vast majority of the time. Isn't that something? So as much as we might value, we got to know what's wrong, it actually uses up so much energy. It's hard to stay in that, versus going back into that open health rebuilding response. It says, good to chill out for a little while here, and then we're available for what's wrong, but to not use up our resources by staying always in that pinpoint. So So see if you can do it again right now. And maybe be like that gazelle who's out part of the whole herd, just kind of hanging out until, right, one gazelle's like, and then everybody's like, okay, let's go, right? That's when narrow focus is efficient and effective. But the rest of the time, to imagine that, you get to be in open focus. So that's that step. Shift your focus. Open your focus. Okay? Now, while you're in that nice open focus, try this. Open your heart. What does that mean? Well, Michael Singer, have you read Untethered Soul? If you haven't, you might want to go read it. Read it now. I could read it right now. I've read it 6-7 times. Every time is a new time for me. He has a whole chapter about the heart. He talks about how much energy comes from the heart, how much our life experience is generated from here. So if my heart is closed because, of those people, the enemy, the folks that are doing it wrong, and I'm right, and right, they're out there and I'm here, and I'm going to just keep myself closed off. Well, first, let's just I just had this sad pang of, why would I want to do that with any of my species? And I can hear I've got my reactive brain says, well, because they're dangerous. Well, because who knows what could happen if I don't close my heart off. Oh, I don't want to be vulnerable. All right, I have good reasons. However, look at the cost. It's just like with narrow focus. That's a high price. So I have to walk around with a closed heart. And then from that closed heart, well, people look like enemies. I spent a lot of my life that way. I really thought I was in an unfriendly universe, and I had to watch out for all the dangers. I just didn't know there was anything else, frankly, until I started to become aware that, wait a second, I'm missing the boat. I'm missing this huge swath of life, which is all about love and connection and possibility. Now, in order to access that part of life, I have to open my heart. So, Singer says, don't close your heart. If you want an open heart, here's how you do it. Don't close it. Well, all right, so right now, what does this even mean? How do you find it? It's kind of subtle, isn't it? Except I know when my heart feels closed. I had a whole time of my life. It was around 40. There were lots of things happening, and I thought, I have a stone cold heart. I'm like cut off. It wasn't a fun time. Ugh. It's been a while. So now one of my main intentions, live, love, and serve with an open heart. An open heart. To breathe you all in out there, wherever you are, to breathe in life, to breathe in all of the support that I have, seen and unseen, to open my heart. And I especially, because of this class, I commit to opening my heart to humanity. Oh, I got a little pang right there. To humanity. There's all the other beings, but right now to open my heart to humanity, knowing that we are all doing the best we can. I know it's arguable. I totally believe it. In this moment, I promise I'm doing the best I can. As far as I can tell, that means so is everybody else, because you add it all up. What I ate for breakfast, what's happening in the rest of my life, what happened for me when I was 10, right? It's just on and on and on. Here, the sum total of me is this moment. I'm doing the best I can, and so are all my fellow humans. So I open my heart, and I offer to you, invite you to do the same thing, to open your heart. Here we are. I lost track. I think we're at step 7. I think that's true. Why not? Why not? That's what I leave you with until we come back to our next class.